SSG. We'll see if you be out the analyst. We got the match right now. Best of 7 on the way. Space Station, everything in their hands to be able to make Birmingham major. But of course, they've got a lot of obstacles in the way. NRG next, but first, they got to shut down the Ultimates.
No shortage of obstacles for the upstarts in North America, but you pave your own path here in the Rlcs, and well, those obstacles are of your own making. Now Space Station have to find a way to overcome that here against the Ultimates, already qualifying for the major stacks. They're playing with house money.
They are playing with house money, but they still have quite a bit to play for, and of course, it's almost fate that First Killer maybe gets a shot at ruining Atomic's dreams of sweeping all 3 regionals in a given split. It's happened twice already. Is Frosty going for the early shot? Blocked away by First Killer. Now Reveal gonna try to dive in as well, and that easily set away. You know, this is a Space Station team, Jorby, that has battled inconsistency, to put it mildly. I mean, they go all the way to the finals. They give NRG all they could ask for, and then they just completely bomb out of the second regional. And then they come into this weekend, you're feeling pretty good about them, and then they go, they drop to Pirates in 7. Granted, they played a phenomenal series. Not a series you expect them to be losing, as LJ's got the rebound and an early goal for Ultimates.
And after all that stacks, you got your hands full with First Killer. Not who you wanted to run into at this stage in the tournament when you're trying to at least make that grand final. First Killer gets a great 50 after what was about 30 seconds of pressure there from the Ultimates. You know, Hoab was a team that, at least on paper, Space Station were who they thought they were, at least. You should have been able to beat them. Hoab, they played a standout game. I mean, they still got a lot to play for here as well. Things are not starting the way Space Station had hoped here, as First Killer and LJ are online and ready to fight.
Now, this is getting to be a nightmare for Space Station Gaming, and look at LJ picking up right where he left off yesterday. He was outstanding against Pioneers, had 7 goals in that series. He's already got 2 and threatening for another, but Reveal cut him off. Now Chronic with First Killer waiting. Chronic's gonna call his own number and score that one as well.
You know what? Pick your weapon stacks. They have a hammer, they have a saber, they've got a spear, whatever kind of tool they need to get the job done. They've got it in their arsenal. All 3 of Ultimates either setting up or knocking it down here. And that's the threat that this Ultimates team really brings, and what a lot of NA fans out there, if they're thinking internationally, are hoping could be another tool that can help get NA over the top. And this is what you want to see from this Ultimate squad if you're hoping for their international success. If you really think that they could contend with the likes of NRG, they should be bringing the heat to Space Station like they are right now.
If this keeps up, we're going to need to like dig deep into our bag of tricks of things to talk about that aren't just the game, because this is turning into an absolute massacre. Rebound opportunity there for Scribbles, and that's denied as well. And Frosty stuffed by First Killer, and Space Station Gaming in this first 90 seconds still trying to wake up from a nightmare.
You gotta remember, even last Open, it was kind of the First Killer show. And you didn't really say much about LJ. Chronic had a standout moment or 2. But First Killer kind of turned back the clock to the road days. And then in this region, or in this Open, you talk about LJ, and he's having a standout tournament. First Killer, he looks like First Killer. I think that's the real danger of this Ultimate squad, Stacks, no matter where they're going to play, is that even when one player's having a down moment, or even if they're a little quiet, someone else is stepping up on this team, and that's what you want to see from this team. And they're playing excellently right now. On the other side, though, Space Station, they have a couple of questions they still have answered.
First Killer through 2. LJ is up there on the weak side. Can he score this one too? There's no way. Frosty's going to have that ball away from the crossbar. I mean, at this point, you just expect he can score anything, because that's what he's done all weekend long. And all those scenarios that involve Space Station Gaming losing, all of a sudden, again, this is a very small sample size. We're just over halfway through game 1 of a 7-game series. It's looking a lot more realistic.
I think the team that would care most about it are Poab. Gen G control their own destiny. They have to win no matter what. Everything will fall into place if that result happens, like you were saying on the pre-show. But for Pirates on the boat, having Space Station fall here would definitely help their chances as Ultimates continue to lay the press here in game one. And I think that's the most positive thing you could think of if you're a Space Station fan, is it's only game one in a best of 7. There's plenty of time for them to get settled in and figure things out.
Yeah, game 2 starts 0-0, and that's the best thing you got right now, is all 3 are up to stop First Killer there, and really it feels like sometimes you need all 3 to stop him. LJ got through, and Frosty just ahead of Chronic. Did misspeak on the pre-show. It's Gen.G and SSG that can tie. Should have trusted my instincts more. And Pirates and Complexity are the 2 that can tie in the other more wacky scenario. A lot of it involves SSG, though, dropping here. And it's looking pretty good right now if you are a fan of Chaos.
The biggest question that was kind of called on Space Station after yesterday was, how many tools do you have in the kit? It talks about that air dribble bump game. Beast Mode talked about it in his post-game interview about how annoying it is to deal with. But outside of that, when they have to adjust, when you're not connecting on those air dribble bumps, when you're not commanding the tone, how do you adjust? How do you actually beat a team like the Ultimates? You can't be a one-trick pony in this league and be a top team. You'll always find there's something missing. And so that's part of the journey of getting better and growing as a team, right? SSG have to figure it out. How about a double tap from Reveal, but he couldn't quite get behind the ball on the go-ahead touchdown field. And so Space Station really what do you call it? Not a false start. I guess you could call it a false start for Space Station. 5-yard penalty, but unfortunately for you, that costs you a game here after the first here in the best of 7.
One more for the road. No, I mean, this looked like a test lobby in the first minute and a half. It just looked like, okay, let's just
grab those challenges. Game 2, curious how Space Station play these rotations on defense. We were a little critical of them yesterday in their offensive pushes, Stacks. We were both saying that, on Friday, they didn't really do a lot of that overextending, a lot of the over-rotating on offense, and then yesterday, it's like they went right back to that and got caught so many times. Too far forward, overly aggressive, taking too many risks, trying to not outspeed your opponent, but just kind of smother them as much as possible. And eventually, you lose sight of the field, and you can't find a way back in. Space Station, lucky for them, it's 0-0 here. Game number 2. Let's see if they can start things on the right wheel.
Well, they haven't conceded the early goal, but under quite a bit of pressure is Chronic, met by Frosty. First Killer just going to lob it up there, and LJ couldn't quite go, as he say, for LJ. I think it's very important for Space Station just to slow the pace of the series down a little bit and not get overwhelmed early like this. LJ shot high and wide. Scribbles had the goal covered at least. And First Kill will just drop this off. I think it's also more important, Jorby, for SSG to just get a lot more possession, just get some more zone time and kind of send that message to Ultimates. There is another team here to be respected. Because right now, Ultimate's getting very comfortable on the offensive end.
I mean, that play that they just tried. Hang on, Reveal might have something.
Got this, surely. No way.
Frosty almost found it. Almost hit the backside. There was one, Frosty got a demo in the midfield. Reveal decides to go for the pass out to Frosty, but you had both, I think it was Chronic and First Killer, were kind of still sitting at the midfield line. The backboard was at least contestable, and you could have put pressure there, but instead went for that pass, and Frosty was still trying to go up and catch it. It was a hard touch. Like, some of your plans aren't working. The best idea you had, which was Frosty taking that back shot, or the backside shot, ends up being just wide. Thought he may have been able to squeeze that in. It is looking a little better for Space Station. They've held on to the midfield. Frosty might find Reveal here as well. They're starting to take some shots. That's something they really found any of in game 1.
Yeah, certainly not high-quality shots. I mean, they had a handful, just nothing that you thought, okay, this is definitely going to go in. First Killer just kind of throwing that one up, and he hasn't looked as comfortable here in this game as Space Station have given them a slightly different look. LJ, can he get down on this in time? No. And all First Killer can do is just throw that up there, and they're not getting too greedy on the offensive end are the Ultimates. LJ is going to have a one-on-one with Scribbles here.
Yep.
Knocks him into the net, and Frosty back in time for the save.
Oh, you needed a little bit of help. LJ 1v1. There are very few players, I'm sure, that are happy to see that when they're having to defend it. Oh, he's not done. Space Station are just getting back to these touches. Not where you want to be if you're Space Station. You'd rather be in the blue, but you got to play defense, and they're playing it well enough. The ball stays out of the net. Still getting a hold of the midfield line is proving to be difficult, and LJ sends it away. No idea there for Chronic. First killer diving back. He read that immediately. As soon as he saw the 50 failed, he was already off the wall.
A big shot there by Scribbles, set away by LJ. And I think one of the reasons we see this almost like whiplash in a series where one game's a blowout and then the next game ends up something like this, no score with almost a minute left, is because at a certain point, the rest of that previous game turns into a mini timeout. Scribbles ranging back to make that save. You just kind of get to turn your brain off for a moment, go into vibes mode, and think about, okay, this game was awful. Why? And you can kind of try to break that down as you're going through the motions at the end of the game, just as you would if you had an extra minute or so from the timeout. That one ranging across, and no harm yet to the Ultimate side. Down inside 50 seconds now. Reveal looking for Scribbles, found him, but he found Chronic.
Not over yet either. Frosty, nice change up with the speed. Beats first killer to the ball. He bumped it into it. LJ didn't have any boost, but Chronic actually helped. Well, Scribbles and Reveal were waiting for that one. And still, they're finding a pass out. Oh no, another missed connection. That's happened a couple of times for Space Station on that last push. Scribbles misses a pass earlier. There was a touch up of the challenge that went straight up to the ceiling that nobody went for from Space Station. They let it go, and then Ultimates got a chance to reset and get back to the 50-50s. There are little holes that Space Station either just aren't trying to plug through, or they just drop the ball completely.
I think there was a bump there. I'm pretty sure Chronic knocked Frosty off the wall. Knocked him into next week. Hands it off to LJ. That could be the end of game 2. Space Station's got to scramble now from the kickoff. They had been excellent with kickoffs yesterday, but this will drop to the ground right behind Reveal and Ultimates. They win a blowout. Well, Space Station do not take the timeout after game 2. So what do they have in store now for game number 3? Again, mentally a game, you feel like you've got to win. Otherwise, you're staring down 4 match points against an Ultimates team that has certainly brought it here in this final weekend in North America ahead of the Birmingham Major. Again, they have already punched their ticket to the Major. Got that help from NRG beating Complexity yesterday. Chronic, good win. LJ, bouncer. Oh, you had Chronic trying to knock Scribbles out of the way as well. But the shot bounced high. First killer putting one on off the challenge as well. And can he get this to LJ? He sure can, and why not? LJ adds another log to the fire.
And of course, it's first killer, the one setting the fireplace and has the embers up. All LJ's got to do is toss it and fan the flame. Beautiful touch up there from first killer. Space Station unable to put that ball into a clearance area, into safety. First killer takes advantage of it. Nobody could do anything about it. Scribbles absolutely ripped that ball. You had the underneath there. He just couldn't quite get his nose in the right spot. And that really feels like it's a culmination of everything that's gone wrong for Space Station. Is that even when you're in the right spot, the execution isn't there. Or it's just, even if you hit the ball, it's not quite where you wanted to put it. Now you're just missing the ball again, and first killer doesn't even have to work.
I mean, this is just first killer. This is a misread from Scribbles.
He was playing off of Frosty. Frosty didn't even get a kiss on the ball. And Scribbles jumps immediately seeing that roll, and you're right. I mean, but what was I just saying? Like the execution is just off. Space Station, I feel like they're in their own heads. That game 1, either the game 1 got to them, or they were in their own heads before the match even started, Stacks. and they haven't found a way to right the neurons.
Man, I think what you're also seeing is a stark reminder. There's a human element to all of this. This is a very young team playing for their major lives. And, you know, yes, even at this level, the pressure can get to a team. They're not dead in the water just yet, but, boy, they are floundering.
Has been a difficult road for
Look at this passing.
Scribbles this time was there for it. I think, you know, last season it was that same story, and you do see the growth. There is growth with this Space Station squad. We talk about yesterday, the match that you really should have been able to win somehow, and every time you take a shot, somehow they're taking the saves, and again, misexecution and maybe miscommunication on how exactly that was going to work. It was a double commit. One player wanted a pass, one player didn't even think there was going to be a pass and just went for the touch instead. And as a result, the ball's in their half again. And, well, the dominoes are falling, and they're falling quickly the wrong way for Space Station.
She just got back in time to keep Space Station off the scoreboard for now 12 and a half minutes to start this series.
I mean, Ultimates are done, too. They've qualified. GG, you're going to Birmingham. Space Station are the ones with a lot
playing
to prove.
gatekeepers now.
Young team stacks, I mean, having a lot to prove, that can be what adds to that type of pressure, you know, and everything that we've said up to that point with it. But this is part of the growing pains of a young team. You know, the top dogs, they're gonna beat you down a couple of times before you can finally get over the hump, and this almost feels like that's exactly what's happening in this match.
That's exactly what's happening. And, you know, LJ, good on him. They're not trying to do too much. I think a lot of players might have tried to kind of get one more extra touch, but he knew first killer was coming on. Just make the easy play. Simplify the game as much as you can, especially with a lead like this. Reveal, running down, got that on target, but first killer ranging back for the save. Now Frosty, met by LJ. Reveals there, his shot, just nothing behind it, and an easy save again out to the side, and another clearance. Down to 90 seconds left here in game 3, and still, this young SSG squad yet to get on.
First killer is like mold growing on Reveal's car, just sitting there waiting for the ball to go. Reveal can't do anything. He is stuck to the wall. He can't pluck himself out. And first killer gets an easy tap pass. The Ultimates, what a good match from them so far. I mean, you started with just making crazy plays of your first, not crazy plays, but just good plays of your first killer and LJ. Chronic made game 1 pretty much a wash at that point. And then I feel like things started to fall apart. Space Station started making more errors after that game 2, where they were struggling so much just to get consistent offense going, and then they had to make heroic save after heroic save, and eventually breaks down. And they don't call timeout, Stacks. And look, we don't put the timeouts in there for funsies. Like, some players might not think they do much, but in a match like this, where nothing you do is working, where everything you try is the wrong move, that timeout is so valuable to have after those 2 games. And while it's not as valuable after that second game, you still need to call it after this. You need to take a breath.
Oh, yeah.
Your major hopes are still on the line, and you need that extra 60 seconds right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can't take it with you. You know, and I think I understand the rationale for not using the timeout after game 2, as that one's blocked away as well, and Space Station remains scoreless in this series. It's like, okay, the way you lose that game, I mean, you're with them. That's a game that probably should have gone to overtime, and then who knows what happens. You know, it was just a freak accident with the bump from, I think it was Chronic on the play.
Yeah.
Whatever the case was, you know, okay, unlucky, but...
And it doesn't matter at this point. You got to win 4 in a row. And that task is tall when first killer, LJ, and Chronic are on the other side.
Yeah, used to seeing Sad Jr. during a timeout trying to rally Space Station. Now he's trying to get his ultimates to put them in the ground. We go to Utopia, which could be the final resting place for Space Station Snowmen. Here we go. Game 4. Can ultimates put them away? Or do SSG still have something left in the tank? Frosty looking for an early strike, not gonna find it. And that just comes right out to LJ, who has been utterly phenomenal. Flip reset, no, first killer there to follow it up. And after the timeout, that's worst case scenario.
Yep, that's the last thing you wanted to see was LJ getting the flip reset. Musty pass off the crossbar. And the work is easy for first killer. And just really hammer it home, Stacks. And now it seems even more unlikely. Yeah, you know, best of 7 reverse sweeps in RLCS have only ever happened 6 total times. You know where it's never happened? In North America. And the Ultimates certainly don't want it to start right now.
Yeah, this is where I could remind everybody. I mean, I've been around SSG with best of 7 reverse. There's nothing I can do for you. There are deities that could not save this team right now. Somehow they got to figure this out, and they got 4.5 minutes to do so. Chronic now going up the ladder against Scribbles. Pass to Reveal. And Reveal's got to circle around on the back wall to try and get back into this play with LJ trying to get possession. He gets knocked off the play. And then a race for the ball off that side wall, and first killer gets knocked into the wall. So a chance out for Scribbles, but looked like he might have been trying to pass to Reveal, but Reveal was going for a bump. And again, everything is just utterly disjointed for one of these teams. The other team is the Ultimates.
It kind of make you wonder what the comms sound like. And for a young team, we know that teams of the past, when things go hard, the comms get quiet. When things get hard, the comms got to get louder than ever. Even if they are, that miscommunication has definitely hurt them in several spots during this series. They just haven't been able to establish a rhythm all game long. We've harped on it, but we keep seeing it, and that's why we keep mentioning it. And Ultimates, their job past game 2 has been quite easy.
Well, everything's just been so fluid for Ultimates as well. I mean, to give credit to SSG here, they've had opportunities. That one's off the post. I mean, they've had 7 shots each in the first 3 games. Like 7 shots in games 1, 2, and 3. And I mean, they've been consistent in that regard, but then you have a shot like that just rings off the post, and it's like, it's not the easiest thing in the world. I get it. But
that one was pretty easy, Stacks.
You've got to cash those in.
Yeah, that should have ended the perfect sweep chance. Yet we're 2 minutes into game 4. And it's looking more likely than not right now that they just made perfect sweep Space Station. And they maybe hate watching Chronic. I think he wants it. First killer and Chronic will work together to get downfield. Reset underneath. First killer going for an area bump. Frosty lost the ball. LJ with 63. No contact, and Space Station are left dangling.
No, that's one that LJ should probably put in. But guess what? He's built up a little bit of goodwill with the, 12 goals he has scored in the playoffs so far this weekend. You kind of give him a pass when he misses one like that. And he's got a chance here against Reveal, but he caught up to it. And now first killer just roll it around the boards and try to force SSG into another mistake.
Hard kick from Reveal. We've got to find a way to bring that ball down there. That one can't kick off of your car when you have a little bit of space in the blue half. There hasn't been much of that. But every single fundamental you're hoping serves you well is ending up serving the enemy in the Ultimates. If you're Space Station, a tough road. It's not quite over yet. Do they finally get one? Space Station finally break the mold. They break through the door and they get a goal. No perfect sweep for the Ultimates.
18 minutes and 12 seconds into the series. Space Station Gaming have a goal. And they're back within 1. Maybe more importantly. Still need 1 more, though, with just over 100 seconds remaining. Reveal. Stopped by first killer. He can't get out of the zone. Chronic looking for LJ. LJ's up quickly ahead of Frosty, but Scribbles there to bounce this one out. But you just look at when Ultimates get back on possession. First touch is almost always a pass when it needs to be. LJ, lob it downfield again.
Okay.
Scribbles, maybe. Try to throw off the defense. Reveal, stuffed by LJ.
Yeah, you see that, and then you just leave it. You give yourself a chance at it. And the second most important step you can take, Stacks, is the first one. But the most important step you can take is the next one. Space Station, they took the first step. They almost got knocked off the pedestal there, but the next one might be coming here from Frosty. First Killer's got the save. Reveal, hoping for a pass to Scribbles, but First Killer had it read. Scribbles was still turning around by the time that pass dropped down, and time is running thin.
And timing has been the enemy of SSG. LJ right, and that may have just about put it out of reach.
I mean, what are you supposed to do if you're Reveal, man? You're coming down, you have momentum, you try to time your flip, so you just slap that ball off of First Killer's nose. And instead, you go off the ball, your challenge isn't perfect, First Killer just beats you on that challenge. And everything after that was not as hard for First Killer, but that first challenge as Reveal is coming down. That's gotta be so frustrating if you're Reveal. One you surely thought you had a handle on, but you don't. And here we are with Ultimates playing with two in hand.
Well, anybody who needed Ultimates to beat SSG, they're grinning right now as Chronic adds one more for the road. 13-1 in this series. The Ultimates have run roughshod over SSG.
To call it a shellacking would be doing a disservice to the carpet bombing this team laid on Space Station. Absolutely.
One more.
Disgusting effort there from the Ultimates. Almost getting one more there.
I think that's...
Poab are pretty happy right now, Stacks.
Yes, they are. I think that's LJ taking a knee at the 1 yard line. Just going, we're done. We're done.
Even happier, though, are Complexity. Because they actually qualify completely for the major now, thanks to the Ultimates, who were their biggest fans watching this game. And Complexity have confirmed their spot in Birmingham. Congratulations to them.
Yes, sir. Complexity didn't have to lift a finger today. They are going to Birmingham thanks to the Ultimates. But if you are any of the other teams remaining in this bracket, you're looking at what the Ultimates have done to Pioneers and Space Station this weekend and going, okay, I know NRG exists, but this is not the team I want to play today.
No, I mean, Ultimates look great. NRG, they don't care, Stacks. You know that. They're not afraid of anything. The Space Station, it is a disappointing end to what looked like the most exciting moment for them. Instead,